theticketfm.com.
My early Alzheimer's diagnosis was hard to take, but it gave my mom and me more time to plan together.
Talk to your family about seeing a doctor. Go to alz.org/time to talk. A message from the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
Reading is an important key to student success. I'm Jenny Benson, president of the Nebraska State Education Association. Take your young reader to the library, get some great books, sit down and read together, and help your more advanced readers find books they'll enjoy on their own. Also know that most public libraries let you borrow ebooks that can be downloaded to your smartphones, tablets, or laptops.
Sponsored by the Nebraska State Education Association, aired by the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
As an 18-year-old, I let my mistakes kind of take over my life. I was 0.5 credits away from completing high school, and I didn't do it.
10 years later, at age 28, Jackie finished her high school diploma.
When I found out that I was pregnant, I know that I had to do something for myself if I wanted to make her a better person and provide a better life for her. My family never stopped pushing for me to be better because they knew what I could become and who I could become as a person. My support team is amazing. The educational director, my sister, and even my 7-year-old daughter has just been more than the support that I could ask for. I've been given an opportunity, and I'm just thankful for it.
No one gets a diploma alone. If you're thinking of finishing your high school diploma, you have help. Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org. That's finishyourdiploma.org. Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com.
On the internet.
KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket.
Most parents have a homework schedule for the weekdays, but don't forget to cover the weekends. I'm Jenny Benson, president of the Nebraska State Education Association. A good way to avoid a problem is to set a homework schedule for the weekend. Set aside a couple hours of homework time on Saturday and help your student avoid staying up late Sunday night to finish a project. Remember, communicating with your child's teacher is vital for student success.
Sponsored by the Nebraska State Education Association, aired by the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
I get it, slip it, cuff it, check it twice a day.
I get it, slip it, cuff it, check it in the morning and before dinner.
I get it, slip it, cuff it, check it, and share it with my doctor. Nearly 1 in 2 U.S. adults have high blood pressure. That's why it's important to self-monitor your blood pressure in 4 easy-to-remember steps. It starts with a monitor.
Now that I know my blood pressure numbers, I talked with my doctor. We're getting those numbers down.
Get it, slip it, cuff it, check it. Talk to doctor now and share it.
Be next to talk to your doctor about your blood pressure numbers. Get down with your blood pressure. Self-monitoring is power. Learn more at manageyourbp.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council, the American Heart Association, and the American Medical Association, in partnership with the Office of Minority Health and Health Resources and Services Administration.
Hey, it's me, your cell phone. We need to talk about something serious. I know you love me. I know you like using me wherever you are, but I feel like this isn't working out when you're driving. I know you may think that it's possible to focus both on me and the road, but I just don't feel the same way. I think we should spend time away from each other when you're driving. It's for the best.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
If you came across someone struggling with hunger, how would you recognize them? By their clothes, their age, the way they speak? Would you notice a 16-year-old boy who got his first job,
not for extra spending money, but to help feed his little sisters?
Or a mother who's in between jobs and sometimes goes to bed hungry so her kids can have dinner? Or a 14-year-old girl who signs up to every after-school activity, not to make friends, but just to get something to eat? Or a retiree who fell ill and had to choose
between getting medicine or groceries.
I am the 1 in 8 Americans who struggle with hunger. People you pass by every day but never knew were hungry. I am hunger in America.
Hunger can be hard to recognize. Learn why at IamHungerInAmerica.org. Brought to you by Feeding America, 200 Food Banks Strong, and the Ad Council.
Welcome into The Breeze with DP and Haas on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right, welcome back into Ticket Weekends. I'm Harrison Arms wearing the ones and twos. We got DP in studio today, and the host, as always, Haas, here for The Breeze. Pretty good Husker day yesterday. I woke up smiling. My pride, all of it was intact, 100% of it there. Woke up with a big smile on my face. Pretty good weekend to be a Husker. But Haas, I'll switch it to you, man. How's it going? Oh, one sec, Haas. I might have you muted there. So go ahead. Say that again. Sorry. Haas, do you have your own mic muted by chance? There we go. I can unmute it. You have to unmute your own mic. There we go. Okay. We're set.
Happy Sunday.
Absolutely, man.
So I'm going to go like this real quick while running. And some Nebraska fans will know what that means. I don't know. You guys are probably busy being at the Huskers game, but Iowa lost just because of that.
Yeah.
Did you guys see replays of that?
Yeah.
It was the wrong call, but I'm not going to say. I'm not going to take it back.
But see, it's not.
It's the right call.
Okay, I thought it had to be above the shoulders.
No, there's no rule for that. Here's the rule is simple. That you as a returner have a responsibility to identify your intention. That is your job. And you're either catching the kick and returning it, or you're sending notification that you're not. Everything else is not required. Like, that's why you have a verbal signal to tell your people, fire. That's within 90,000 people, fire, get away. They don't have to see you. Why? Because they have their backs turned to you. They can't see you. The defending team has optics, and they're in a full sprint, and they're fighting some 250-pound dude to get to you. And anything over the shoulder that tells you, over them looking over their shoulder, identifies that, look, I can see. I am not, do not come down here and hit me. And that's the way. Control your weapons. That's literally what this is about. If you throw the right hand to point, it's different than waving. You don't use one hand to point and then don't raise it to the sky. Fingers to the sky. That's a concession. That's what it is. Sorry, Iowa. You cheated. Well, let's call it that. You cheated and then got caught and then tried to play the victim. Like that, can you be more Iowa than that? Like, stop being Iowa. Like, that's the real thing. Listen, as a kid, I spent, look, that's what I did. That was my jam. First of all, I don't want a fair catch. You got 11 dudes running down here at me. One of them is a kicker. And the other 10 dudes are not your 10 best tacklers. I like my odds against your 11 best tacklers. I really like my odds against 10 not your best tacklers and a kicker. So take your opportunity, bro. You didn't have to raise your arms at all. You didn't have to do anything. Wait a minute. If this thing was shanked, why are you waving your hand side to side? Why? There's nobody that ever returned a kick thought, hey, wave your hand side to side. It's not even a song. It's not even in a song.
That's surprised. This is not the take I was expecting this morning.
No!
I was surprised.
No, it's right.
To me, the rule was, I understand, even if it was a little fishy, the rule to me was still, it has to be a hand above the helmet, clear signal. That's what's in the NCAA rulebook.
It's never been it is the intent and then the motion. If you simply say, as a kick returner, there's movement and then there's natural movement.
Okay.
That's an unnatural movement. That's when you get into the rooms, that's what they tell you. Natural movement. As the official, I need to see natural movement. That was an unnatural movement. That tells me, okay, wave it in.
We do have a few chiming in from the text line here. Brian says DB has me grinning ear to ear. Again, I'm sure.
Stinking cheaters!
And then Ted says, guys, it wasn't the fair catch that was called. The penalty was on a legal signal, meaning the pointed on his teammates away from the ball, which is illegal if you don't catch. So good insight from Ted there.
Now, here's
Invalid fair catch signal.
What
Invalid fair catch signal.
Yep.
That was the call.
Mhm.
And there were several things that were wrong. This is why Ferentz just shut up at the end of the press conference, because he understood. Listen, tell me the day that in punt returns you taught waving hands side to side. Tell me the day that you taught me you went through pointing.
That's a good point.
So DP, can you go like this? Can you go like this with two hands?
Can you say it again? Show it again, bro. Hold on.
Can you go like this?
He's going.
I
Like
can't.
that.
I can't.
He's going
see
like
it.
this.
You are conceding. That means, from your point, from you are now not allowed to participate in the play.
Okay.
That's
So
what it
you're
is.
yelling fire, and you're going like that. Fire, fire, fire. Hey, we're fine with not losing the ball. Just don't get hit by it. That's what he's doing.
Fire tells everybody that, listen, the ball again, it's identifying an unnatural movement in a punt return. So the ball is not moving in a way that is traditional or normal. So
Yeah.
you're telling people, stop what you're doing. If you have to, freeze. But in worst case scenario, plant your foot and sprint straight to the sideline.
Well, how about this?
In the Nebraska game, there was a moment on a shank punt. Matt, they literally got Quentin Ives and just screamed at him because the ball was shanked, and they finally yelled at him, and he heard fire, and he planted. He stopped his motion, planted, and sprinted straight to the Nebraska bench. Why? Because that's what you were taught. The other stuff is not taught.
Okay.
So anything that's an unnatural movement draws the attention of the official. That's literally what they're looking for. In a mass of 22 people moving in synchronization, it's the unnatural movement, the tugging of a jersey, which stops natural movement, the impeding of a defender or an offensive player, an unnatural strike, an unnatural finish to a play. All of those are things. That's what officials and coaches know that, okay, that's my draw because my eyes are drawn. I know what it's supposed to look like. When it doesn't look that way, the official immediately, it's his habit. He reaches for his hip because the unnatural movement tells him a foul has occurred, or at least some non-adherence of a rule. If you're running full speed, Harrison, and I grab you by the back of the collar, your body is going to react in a way that's unnatural. That's what the
For those of you just tuning into the breeze, we have Ed Hockley here talking about fair catch rules.
I will say the text line's fired up. Nyla says this is the best take DP has had. And then we have a few more just asking about some more Husker football tips. Haas, we won't drive you through all that, but we can get to some of it here.
So hold on. What's with the Big Ten West? What's with the Big Ten West? Why do they play like 1960s football? Why do they score like 10, 9, 7, 12, 14 points? Do other coaches need to have this 25-point rule that Brian Ferentz has? That if they don't score 25 points a game in Iowa, then people are going to have new jobs? Like, why is it so different in the West than the East?
It's the Midwest. It's the Midwest. Look at your son. Look at the sons of the Midwest and tell me in full whether there's an expectation that you're going to – how many 4.340 guys, 4.40 guys are in the Midwest? And where do they come? And what do you do with them? What do you do with them? Right? What do you do with them? Pockets of the country respond to the talent in those pockets.
Yep.
Right? If you're in Southern California, you're in Florida, guess what?
You got some speed.
You need some dude, right? And then you got some big boys, right? You go to Texas. We got the farm boys. Let's go. Now, then we need the speed guys to go with it. If you feel like coaches coach to their personalities and their style, and coaches are hired by people who hire to their personality and style. Midwestern business leaders and corporate leaders love a certain style of football. Why? because it's what they grew up on.
Yep.
Listen, the bridge from Woody Hayes to to Urban Meyer to from Bo Schembechler, like we understand the leaps of what's happened. People get comfortable in what they expect to see every Saturday, and then they get uncomfortable when it doesn't work anymore. And as long as it works, they stay with it. But when it doesn't work, think Alabama against USC, and it's like, wait a minute, that doesn't work anymore. We need to do what they're doing.
Well, even Tom
So-
Osborne, he had to rework that off to beat the speed of Miami.
Yes, 100%.
Go ahead.
Now on the breeze, we have Kelly LeVesque, a celebrity nutritionist who's talking about the difference in your athletes. If you want 4-3 speed, then you must eat filet mignon for most of your meals. And if you want some big Huskers, then it's potatoes and all the corn you want to eat, and you build Lyman. That's what you find out on the breeze.
Yeah, look. If ask Haas about the athletes he's raising and why.
Haas, break it down.
My daughter's on a nutrition plan, and she's deep.
So the world's next great female point guard is sitting back and listen. She has to listen to Haas show her film after film. Like, let me show you Dawn Staley. Let me show you Sue Bird. Let me show you. Like, he has to go through. Listen, I understand that there are pockets of the country. I've coached, and again, this is the thing that because I've coached in California, Utah,
Yeah, you
Texas,
got a resume. Your experience.
Virginia, Charlotte. What you understand is coaches coach to their personality and style. Fans root for the things like them because it is a representation of them until the people you don't like beat you. And then you say, hey, we need to get better because this sucks.
Well, where does Iowa fall on this? Because to take away yesterday's game, before yesterday's game, Iowa's still one of those teams that they're still winning a lot of games, but the product, like the fans weren't necessarily excited about what was getting seen every week.
Well, that's the thing, that there's certain pockets of the country that have never won national titles. So the expectation isn't to win national titles. There is a huge difference between being an Alabama fan and an Iowa fan. They're different expectations. There's different room. Like, they're different conversations, right? And Iowa looks over its fence to its neighbor, who, quite frankly, were obnoxious in the amount of winning they were doing. And then to say, well, wait a minute, our neighbor has a really nice house with really cool stuff and a great yard and a great building to play in. Why can't we have that? And they said, no. Don't pay attention to the Huskers. Like, you see the sign out front, welcome to the Huskers, right? Don't pay attention. We're not the Huskers, honey. We're the Hawkeyes. We're the Hawkeyes. And quite frankly, we just have to know our lane. As the great poet Dwayne Johnson tells you, know your role and shut your mouth, Iowa. This is not...
That might be the greatest thing to say after the Iowa game yesterday.
Right, like, know your role. That's not who you are. You don't get your key doesn't go to the top floor of college football. You're good to go to the basement and to hang out in the lobby with all the randos, but don't you dare come up here to the national championship level. Only Nebraska has a key to that. You look. And we got our key a long time ago. And we're never going to let you forget the days of, hey, our key used to be like.
That wine's really good on the top
floor. That used to be our chair. That was, hey, Iowa, you know what happens on the top floor? You want to know? You want to know? Psych. I'm not going to tell you because you've never earned the right to be there.
Do they chant at the Iowa games, let's go wrestle? Like, is that what they're good at? What are they actually good at, other than Caitlin Clark?
They can't do that either because they're looking at Penn State. That's another one where they can't even quite claim the rest of it either.
Penn State's been so good for so long.
Well, it's
But
the thing.
DP and I know about Minnesota.
Right. That in the high schools around the country, it's like, that's all right, that's okay. You're going to work for me someday.
Mm-hmm.
That's what. That's the stuff that we're talking about with Iowa. Yeah, but wrestling. Okay. Okay. Yeah, you're a wrestling school. Cool. Shut up during football season.
We got one more. DP calling Iowa cheaters is right up there with Matt Rule's "If we die, we die" speech. But
no, it's not. No, it's not. No.
I love the engagement though. 402-464-5685. You guys are cracking me up today.
Like this, it has to be fantastic. Again, the picture window at 11 that was on fire today. It's Downtown Sunday in Lincoln, Nebraska. As always, Harrison and I are having some really funny conversations off air about what happens in downtown Lincoln on a Sunday morning. So there's lots
peculiar things.
Yeah, it's just Sunday is different.
Just saying the numbers don't add up. That's
yeah, right. The math ain't mathing. You try to figure out. It's like, wait a minute, Haas. It's the thing that where if you could just stand and watch, and if we could hold up signs about what we think happened to this person last night. Like, what did you do last night on a Saturday in Lincoln? And we'll just hold up a sign that those look like Saturday's clothes. You
incredible.
haven't changed yet.
So the glass works both ways? They can see you and you can see them? No.
See everything. It's like, wait a minute. We're going to make, like, the mill's closed today. We said what we should have done was just make coffee and sit it outside because there are people that needed coffee this morning. Yeah. Like they needed coffee at 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock on a Sunday. It was like, let me just, we should just put some outside.
Haas, I'll just say this. Typically when I come into Q Place, I can get in on the first or second floor. Today at 6 a.m. in the morning, I had to get to the 5th floor before I could find a spot. A lot of leftover cars from last night.
Folks are celebrating.
Yeah.
It was all over the place. It was that kind. Literally, it's Haas. It's us leaving the WWE pay-per-view.
Oh yeah, that's the first thing I thought of.
Right. Be able to see that. Okay, I can identify who you were a fan of, who you paid to see. Because wrestling fans, you go to you're watching somebody,
right?
And to identify who you came to see says a lot. There are people that we identified having gone to both. They began the football tailgate at 9 a.m., went to the football game, imbibed, and then tailgated the volleyball game, stayed late. It ended at 10, poured into downtown in the Haymarket, and quite frankly, just walked in the streets. Haas, there's a pole. There's a light pole right outside the station window.
Mm-hmm.
And Nick Sainert and I, we lost count of the number of people who were so under the alcohol that pole has a body count today. It has a body count from people who, like, it was Stan and Lariat Hansen just banging out people on this pole. And the pole doesn't move. And people were just, they couldn't. It was over 2 hours to watch 4 people just go full rhino spear into this lamppost. That's the beauty of downtown Lincoln. Then sitting at 11-0, you get to see a little bit of everything.
Absolutely. And from the text line, Thunder Not Collins, people watching on it sounds like a new Sunday morning show.
It's like, well, I said whenever I go to Vegas for UFC, I always say that that needs to be a show.
Mm-hmm.
Like there needs to be a show, and there should be like a camera that just takes pictures of people pre-event in Vegas and post-event in Vegas. Just do like a play-by-play.
Yeah. What's this guy's story?
Oh yeah. Like just really like tell the story, and it can only be wrong answers.
Yeah.
Right. And so as we sit here, so last night in the post game, again, we have a camera that faces the street. That's what it does.
Mm-hmm.
And people will come up and you see them ponder their moment. Haas, they really, it's worse than being at WWE where the camera rolls to WWE fans. You never know what you're going to get. Like, you never know look, are they going to pull up the shirt? Are they going to flash the sign?
Which started early, which I knew it was going to be. It was in the morning show. Raph was like, yeah, I already saw the first one today. And I'm like, damn, it's early.
Yeah, and then we'll point to the camera to let them know.
And they double down.
Hey, you're on stream. And they stop, they pause, and then they go, okay, cool. And then they flash you.
Yep.
And then they keep it moving. And it's just like, the internet's forever.
For all the dads out there, this isn't our fault. We're not telling them to do this.
We're not passing it along. Yeah. We're not sharing that. We're just letting people know that.
It is funny though when you point to the camera. It's like a challenge for them. It's I'll double down.
Oh, this is my moment. This is the moment I will go viral. This is it, and it 100% is how we live our lives now. So
weekly now on the Breeze. Before the first commercial break, we're gonna have Spill the Tea and talk about who made the most viral moment outside O Street.
Best moment ever. Best moment ever.
We do have to go to break here. Yeah, go ahead, Haas. Tee this one up, and we can dive into it a little bit.
Football for another second. I don't know. I imagine the Husker fans are so diehard that they know everyone's record in the West, and they didn't need to do this. But the first thing I did when I saw the score, 12-10, Minnesota's winning, it's like, okay. So what's going to have to happen for Nebraska to win the West? And if Nebraska wins out, don't they win the West? Isn't that a possibility? Winning out, they have to play Wisconsin, they have to play Iowa. It is. So winning out, they win the West. Is that really a possibility? We'll talk about that after the commercial break.
Like Haas doesn't understand the hornet's nest he's waking up.
Yeah, I know.
Very much
I know.
Day at a time now.
Yeah. You don't understand. As he said, don't
I know.
Fans came there. Don't give Nebraska fans the idea that they can win the Big Ten West.
With that being said, we'll throw it the break there. Again, this is the Breeze. We got Haas hosting.
I know what I did.
In studio. We'll talk to you guys in a bit.
Gray Diesel and Equipment Services is your go-to place in Lincoln for repairs and maintenance for diesel pickups to Class 8 over-the-road trucks and trailers, from bumper pole utility to full-size semi. Gray performs DOT inspections and are a service provider for fleet companies like ARI, Element Fleet, and FleetNet. They're a family-owned business in operation since 1952, and they keep a clean, friendly shop. Customer service is their top priority. Give Gray Diesel and Equipment Services a visit today with easy access just off I-80 and North 56th Street.
Hi everyone, Kendall Warnock with A1 Automotive in downtown Lincoln. If you're looking for an automotive repair facility you can genuinely trust, we would be grateful for the opportunity to earn your business repairing your vehicle. We have ASE master technicians and qualified to work on a variety of vehicles from Hondas to Porsches, Jaguars to Toyotas, and Chevrolets to Fords. We pride ourselves on customer service and relationships, and we would be grateful for the opportunity to serve you. Give us a call at 402-477-4660. A1 Automotive, always honest answers.
This is Brian at Midwest Bank, and we've been proudly serving clients in the Lincoln community since 2008, and we're excited to open a second location in January 2024 at 70th and Pioneers Boulevard. Our new branch will provide all the convenient services you're looking for in a bank, along with the friendly staff we're known for. Whether you're starting a business or expanding your business, our team is here for you, your community, your bank, Midwest Bank. Find out more at midwestbank.com. Member FDIC.
If you came across someone struggling with hunger, how would you recognize them? By their clothes, their age, the way they speak? Would you notice a 16-year-old boy who got his first job?
Not for extra spending money, but to help feed his little sisters?
Or a mother who's in between jobs and sometimes goes to bed hungry so her kids can have dinner? Or a 14-year-old girl who signs up to every after-school activity,
not to make friends, but just to get something to eat.
Or a retiree who fell ill and had to
choose between getting medicine or groceries.
I am the 1 in 8 Americans who struggle with hunger. People you pass by every day but never knew were hungry. I am hunger in America.
Hunger can be hard to recognize. Learn why at IamHungerInAmerica.org. Brought to you by Feeding America, 200 Food Banks Strong, and the Ad Council.
This is your captain. We are going to be experiencing some slight turbulence. Please fasten your... Oh, hold on. Just got a video of my cat.
Imagine the pilot of an airplane was as confident as you are texting and driving. Seems kind of crazy when you put it like that.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
When it comes to making plans, you are the best. What about those round trips, which are perfect on your way there and perfect on your way back? Or those meetings with friends, surprise parties, camps, birthdays. The same way you plan for the important moments, start planning to protect you and your loved ones from a natural disaster. Sign up for local weather and emergency alerts. Prepare an emergency kit and make a family communications plan. Get started at ready.gov/plan.
Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Reading is an important key to student success. I'm Jenny Benson, president of the Nebraska State Education Association. Take your young reader to the library, get some great books, sit down and read together, and help your more advanced readers find books they'll enjoy on their own. Also know that most public libraries let you borrow ebooks that can be downloaded to your smartphones, tablets, or laptops.
Sponsored by the Nebraska State Education Association, aired by the Nebraska Broadcasters Association in this station.
Victor deployed for the first time to Afghanistan in 2003. At 4 a.m, my phone rang. They said, "I regret to inform you that your husband was wounded in action." Victor sustained a moderate traumatic brain injury. I was doing school full-time, and I was also then caring for Victor. One of the most important elements of caregiving is taking care of yourself. I just didn't want to forget that I also had goals and that I also had a life. What I did is I challenged Victor to meet me halfway. There are almost 6 million military and veteran caregivers across the nation. We have our own journey, and we can fulfill that journey at the same time that we are helping our loved one.
Visit aarp.org/caregiving for a free military veterans guide to navigate your caregiving journey and better care for your loved one and yourself. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Reading is an important key to student success. I'm Jenny Benson, president of the Nebraska State Education Association. Take your young reader to the library, get some great books, sit down and read together, and help your more advanced readers find books they'll enjoy on their own. Also know that most public libraries let you borrow ebooks that can be downloaded to your smartphones, tablets, or laptops.
Sponsored by the Nebraska State Education Association, aired by the Nebraska Broadcasters Association in this station.
You're listening to The Breeze with DP and Haas on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right, welcome back into Ticket Weekends. Again, I'm Harrison Arns running the ones and twos. We got the host Haas in here as always, and DP stepping in studio as well. We got a couple more segments here left. Haas asked the question, can Nebraska win the Big Ten West? DP joked he's poking the hornet's nest a little bit, and we'll dive into that. We got a few ones on the text line already. John and Cortland, Haas, half of Husker Nation already believes. The other half is saying the wheels will eventually fall off. I'm in the middle, 1 week, one game at a time. And then from Notorious BIB, what was bigger yesterday, the football win or the volleyball win? We'll dive into that one next. But yeah, I think for the most part, with Nebraska fans, it's I don't want to say it's a little bit of scared optimism, right? You don't want to get too excited. I think everyone's fully bought into we really just need to look one game at a time because it's been a lot of years of looking ahead that's just gotten us in severe disappointment.
So 6-6 was the expectation to start the year, I think, right? Anything better than that?
You know better than that.
Anything better than that?
You know better than that. Stop it.
Anything better than 6-6 should be a win for a first-year coach. So,
Costa Breeze, you know me. What part of me makes you think that's where I land? Like, right? Like we walked into a school and he's like, oh, "These guys aren't very good, DP. This is what we're gonna do." And we never win titles, so don't, And I'm like, pause. Stop.
DP, that 8-year-old kid that's upstairs right now who just played that scrimmage is working on a salt bath to recoup her muscles and meditation. So, no. No, my expectations are not that.
Right, like in full, right? Just to say, I don't want to tell any Nebraska fan what their expectation should be. I will say that my hope is one thing, and then their expectation. I need to know what their expectation is. So what do you want from you? Like, you describe your self-esteem, how you feel about you. I'm not. The Husker fans, again, it's the thirds. The third that believes they should win every game. The third that believes they'll lose every game. They're never surprised when they lose every game. And then the third in the middle that kind of determines what the temperature of the room is. And I think yesterday's win, from what I heard, gave people hope that things are getting better because they broke some bad trends, some negative trends that existed. Winning, bye week, beating a team, being 4-3 in the second half of the season.
Yeah, that's a big one.
Beating a team that you should beat at home in the second half of the season and not finding a way to mess it up. And then add to that, oh, you gave me really good steak during the day. I didn't know we were going to get a fully catered dessert meal at night.
Yeah.
Like, okay, now this is too much. This is too much. I don't even know how to process.
I think most fans were, where most of the frustration came from, the longest part, is that we kind of joked about it before, but you're playing in the Big Ten West. So it was like, yes, here is some time, but we are not asking you to beat the juggernauts out. You're not in a loaded conference. It's like if Northwestern, with their academic standards, can find a way to win the Big Ten West, there's absolutely no reason that it's taken this long for Nebraska to. And I think with this hope, what you see, beating Illinois, Matt Rule, first time he plays Northwest, that's the first time any Nebraska head coach has beaten Northwestern their first time playing them. So just some hope to okay, yes, even though it might be sloppy at times, you start the game off with 2 quick interceptions, you're still finding a way to win. And that's totally possible. You can throw 2 interceptions early in a game in the Big Ten West and still be in it. I mean, we talked about the scoring, you're going to have a shot. And I think just taking care of those games that for year after year have been driving us insane, it's a good sign to see us take care of 2 Big Ten teams in a row and do it in a way that's convincing enough where we don't feel like, there was any part of the game where, yes, things could have been cleaner, but for the most part, Nebraska was in control. They were the ones, determining the clock, how fast the game was going to go. And it's just good feeling. We haven't had that second half security where the clock management's been good. You're not worried about that snake bite that Scott Frost used to quote. You don't really feel that this year. I haven't had that feeling where it feels like all the Nebraska fans are just holding their breath for something to go wrong. I'm not feeling that this year.
DP, before you go, how much does the Minnesota game hurt now with how Nebraska controlled that game and was winning the game except the last 2 minutes?
One, as coaches, I don't look back. There's no point to it. There's no point to it. You're beating your head in the wall. I'm not going to bang my head over a thing that happened. I had control of it in the moment. Hopefully I learned from it, right? And that I figured out how to be able to finish games. That it's the toughest thing in all of sports. The easiest way to lose next week is to look back and figure out that I need to live in the thing that didn't exist most recently. Minnesota it's a loss. Okay, that's what it is. We had an opportunity to get a win. You didn't. Now, don't let losing to Minnesota help you lose to Purdue. Don't do it. Put it down. Put it down, man. You can't. You don't have the same personnel on the field. You're 6 weeks smarter. 7 weeks if you can count the bye week. And then Purdue is not Minnesota.
Yeah, they're really struggling.
The only mission in play for me on Sunday today is to beat Purdue. I don't care. Minnesota doesn't exist to me. Wisconsin doesn't exist. Iowa doesn't exist. Ohio State doesn't exist. Michigan doesn't exist. As a matter of fact, after today, because I'm going to do my film study, and I'm going to look at what we at Northwestern to evaluate who we are. But nobody on the planet exists. There's no other game. There's no other focus. There's no other topic of interest. It's Purdue. That's it. If I handle my business against Purdue in full, I'm 5-3, and then that's it. That's it. I don't care about Minnesota. I don't care about anybody that was on the schedule before now. I don't care.
When you're watching those games with your coaching experience, does it look like the players got that mentality just using the eye test?
One, because again, it's a different roster. It's a different depth chart. Different guys are on the field. Different guys accept training differently. I can tell you that Malachi Coleman's body looks different now than it did 4 months ago. I can tell you that Sackman, James Sackman Williams, his comfortable movement looks different now than it did when he was on the practice squad, when he was on the scout squad. I can tell you that Heinrich Haarberg in the huddle looks different than he did 6 weeks ago. I can also tell you that some of the coaches move differently. So yeah, some folks are taking development, taking the growth, taking the information, and getting better. I mean, Emmett Johnson, look, he's a different player than he was 3 weeks ago. He wasn't in the conversation for what for folks who were asked to produce. So, listen, it's a different team now. So let it be. Just focus on this week. Look, if Matt Rule wants to win Monday, come out and say, listen, I'm grateful that we're 4-3, but I don't have any focus or energy for anything other than beating Purdue. And if it's not going to help us beat Purdue, I don't want to talk.
Absolutely. On a side note, I do want to ask this because, Haas, did you catch the Nebraska-Northwestern game at all, or did you just check the score?
I was coaching soccer, so okay. I checked. I got the score.
Okay.
Sorry, Husker fans. Coach 3 teams.
No worries. I'll just quick ask DP this, and then we can move on. On that play where Tyus was the running back for Northwestern, and he looked like he was about to break out and run, that might have been the slowest running back I've ever seen. I could not believe that. He had about 20 yards, Haas, maybe 15. Maybe I'm exaggerating. 15 yards, and it looked like it was in the end zone. And I have never seen a running back move like he was in molasses. I was talking to Ramel Lloyd.
Frank Gore used to do that all the time. Sorry to cut you off. Frank Gore would break out a 15-yard run, and then everyone would catch him. Frank Gore.
Yeah.
One of the best running backs of all time.
It wasn't he didn't look like he was a muscle back. I was just very confused. I'm hoping he pulled a hamstring because that's honestly what it looked like. It was incredibly. He like busted open and everyone was like, "Oh, wait, no, they're catching up to it." But no, but we can move on here.
The person speaking is Harrison Arns. If you want to find him, you can find him near O Street, and you can show him how slow you are.
Yeah. Ready, set, go.
So they have Nebraska has Wisconsin later on. I know we're looking one game at a time, but Nebraska-Wisconsin had a different matchup. And beating an undefeated team that's number one in the nation, that's awesome. And sorry, women's volleyball, that we didn't start with that. Sorry, really, genuinely. That is so cool. So you guys, talk about that. What's the vibe around that?
Electric. I think, for a lot of people, I don't know if they even realize that how long it's been since John Cook was able to take down Wisconsin. It was since 2017 to get that. So to have that, and again, it's an 18-0 clash. You walk away from that one 19-0. Wisconsin's now going to have to sit at number 2. You're number 1. And that sets you up for the playoffs too now, because now you're in a situation where if you have to play Wisconsin again, it's not going to be until the very end. So that is a huge, because we talked about Wisconsin. I mean, they're good. It's going to be a challenge if we play them again. There's no question about that. But at least now you can push them off, and if you do have to play them again, it's going to be at the Pinnacle.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I tweeted this last night, and it still resonates with me today, that college sports, college athletics, and the Big Ten Conference missed an opportunity again.
Yeah.
That we're in an age where we're smarter now. We know that there's a following for this.
Mm-hmm.
And we know that there are young ladies who are in high school or in middle school who are watching the best volleyball players in the country. And if you put that in prime time on the local network, put it on the big networks, and then you portray this like it's the thing that it is. It is the best thing going.
Well, the numbers too, when they've done experiments, sorry to cut you off, but the numbers are good. That's what I don't understand behind it. The numbers are always good.
Because there are people who have said for decades that nobody wants to watch women's sports. Nobody wants to watch women's athletics. It's not talented. It's not entertaining. All the nonsense, right? It's a whole like that silliness of, female comics aren't funny. It's silliness. And now we know better. And now that we know better, we should do better. And if you tell me that Wisconsin and Nebraska can play an additional 2 times for titles, and you don't put it on the biggest stage with the highest amount of lights and amplification, you're failing. You're failing your daughters. You're failing your sons to know that this thing has value. You're failing the communities of these people who buy into this. Listen, there's the video of the train yard last night, right? And Haas may or may not know this, but when we talk about the Sea of Red with 90,000 at Memorial Stadium, that doesn't even count the 30,000 people who don't have tickets to the game, who just come to Memorial and the Haymarket just to tailgate and hang out and watch the games in parking lots or in bars around. And then if you don't realize that the greatest number of fans to ever watch volleyball at Devaney Center, that was last night, that doesn't include the additional 12,000 that were down the train yard. And if you're not taking advantage of it, if you're not amplifying it, it's wasted, and shame on it. Because those young ladies and this program and the city and the Haymarket area, John Cook, athletic department deserves to get everything for it that they can get for it. Because they bought into a thing that they were told wasn't buying.
Well said. Haas, you got anything to add to that before we go to break here?
Change it to a 7-set or 9-set match and just make it last for 4 or 5 hours, because I want to get my popcorn ready. And I definitely would want to watch that on ESPN 1, not 2, not 3, not the Ocho, ESPN 1, and just show, hey, this is what happened with women's basketball. Sorry, talking about Caitlin Clark, Nebraska fans, but that was the most viewed, watched championship game. There's over 8, 9, 10 million viewers. So college sports has changed with the NIL deals and with Instagram and all that stuff and TikTok. People know who these people are now, meaning any athlete. And so with that, you should be able to attract a lot more attention. And so ride the momentum and give the proper attention to the people that deserve it. And 1 versus 2, that deserves it.
Absolutely. We'll throw it to break there. We got one more segment of The Breeze. Haas, DP, here as always. We'll talk to you guys on the other side.
Is your backyard ready for fun with friends and family this fall? GE Landscape Supply has pavers and boulders, which are a great accent for any landscaping project. And you can find them at 6701 Cornhusker Highway. GE Landscape Supply sells to homeowners and contractors with a vast selection of landscaping and construction materials. And don't forget, they deliver anywhere, nearby or far away. Stop by at 6701 Cornhusker Highway from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday to Friday. Go to GELandscapesupply.com for more info or call 402-467-1627.
Old School with DP and J.
So you got a bunch of young guys that have nothing to lose. So just go out there like nothing to lose. Nobody's expecting you to be like the greatest in the Big Ten. But then the only way that you're going to really jumpstart your development is really going out there and playing balls to the wall. Because if you go through and kind of like tiptoe and just moving around, well, when it comes down to when you really got to do it, you're going to let yourself down.
On 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Hey, it's me, your cell phone. We need to talk about something serious. I know you love me. I know you like using me wherever you are, but I feel like this isn't working out when you're driving. I know you may think that it's possible to focus both on me and the road, but I just don't feel the same way. I think we should spend time away from each other when you're driving. It's for the best.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
When it comes to making plans, you are the best. What about those round trips, which are perfect on your way there and perfect on your way back? Or those meetings with friends, surprise parties, camps, birthdays. The same way you plan for the important moments, start planning to protect you and your loved ones from a natural disaster. Sign up for local weather and emergency alerts. Prepare an emergency kit and make a family communications plan. Get started at ready.gov/plan.
Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
I think it's just vapor. Vaping is safer than smoking, isn't it?
There's really not even that much nicotine in them, right?
One vape pod has as much nicotine as one pack of cigarettes.
My kid?
My kid knows it's dangerous.
5.4 million American kids vape, and most think it's harmless. Get your head out of the cloud. Talk to your kid about vaping. Visit talkaboutvaping.org. That's talkaboutvaping.org. Brought to you by the American Lung Association and the Ad Council.
1 in 3 adults has prediabetes. 1 in 3. That means it could be you, your football buddy, your football buddy, or you, your best man, your worst man, you, your dog walker, your cat jogger. While 1 in 3 adults has prediabetes, with early diagnosis, prediabetes can be reversed. Take the risk test at doihaveprediabetes.org. That's doihaveprediabetes.org.
Wait, did they just say 1 in 3 adults has prediabetes? That's 33.33333% of adults. That means it could be me, my boss, or my boss's boss, or me, my favorite sister, or my other sister. That's 7 members of my 21-person romantic book club. Wait, the 1 in 3 could be me, my karaoke partner Carol, or my karaoke enemy Jeff. I'm going to take the risk test at doihaveprediabetes.org.
Brought to you by the Ad Council and its Prediabetes Awareness Partners.
Sometimes I just cannot believe all the storms we've gone through here. I can only hope that we'll be able to leave this house to you one day, baby. You're our legacy.
Planning for these disasters will make sure we're safe, and is the best way to protect that legacy.
Protect your legacy. Visit ready.gov/plan for the tools and tips you need to start your emergency preparedness plan today. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
When you're high, you feel different. You think different, you talk different, you draw different, you listen to music different, but you probably knew that. Problem is, you also drive different, and not in a good way. That's why driving high is illegal everywhere. So if you're high, just don't drive. Make a plan to get a sober ride. Because if you feel different, you drive different. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
You're listening to The Breeze with DP and Haas on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right, welcome back into The Breeze. I am Harrison running the 1s and 2s. Haas, host as always, DP in studio as well. We got about 5 minutes here, Haas. Where do you want to go with it?
So if wrestling fans are still here, we should talk about wrestling with Crown Jewel coming up. Is it too early to have LA Knight fighting Roman Reigns? Because there's no way LA Knight will beat Roman Reigns. What do you think, DP?
Yeah, I don't understand it, quite frankly. I mean, you could give him, let's bring back the Intercontinental, let him take on Gunter and take that strap and give it some meaning. That made more sense to me. Like, that's an easy one. Yeah. That elevates that strap to the number 2 or 3
Did you say wrestling with Gunter?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care. Like, that was it. You don't need to burn him out like that. Like, we've seen the history of burning it out that way.
Like Ryback.
Yeah, like, I mean, we can go, you burn it out. Why? And so putting it with Roman, I mean, listen, the amount of money that's in this pay-per-view, the amount of money that's paid, that they pay, that if they're going to spend $50 million and say, this is who we want, you give it to them. That's not about fans. That one day is not about the fans. That one day is about the people who are writing the check that day to pull that talent over there. I mean, we've seen it in the past. That's not a place where, titles exchange hands. It's not really, at least that title is not going to exchange hands. But yeah, it just lets you it's just a reminder. Cash rules everything around me, bro. Like they tell you that's who we want to see. We want to see him in the main event. I don't know if the pitch and sell was that, we could put him with Gunter, but would that make it interesting?
So DP, I have a thought. If I were to make Crown Jewel interesting, because Survivor Series has more intrigue. Survivor Series is going to most likely have War Games, and it's probably going to be Raw vs. SmackDown. Survivor Series is probably going to have a surprise with CM Punk there. Survivor Series is going to lead into the Royal Rumble, so Crown Jewel is going to be a little bit forgotten. The way I would do Crown Jewel, and the slow burn is the right play for LA Knight. You don't want him to just go and lose to Roman Reigns, because Roman Reigns is not losing until WrestleMania 40, if not later. So what I would do is I would say there will be a heavyweight bout, because he hasn't fought in a long time, against a mystery opponent, not let anyone know who that opponent is, and have some surprise there. And then you bring someone. And whether it's Randy Orton or Brock Lesnar, or, and this is one that fans are going to hate, but this is Saudi Arabia and this is what they'll do, Bill Goldberg, it's one of those names. So that when Roman Reigns wins, we're not ruining the status of those people, and they're still excited to see those three guys. What do you think, DP?
Well, I think they look at LA Knight as found money, as house money. Whatever we get from the guy, we didn't play. Like we couldn't have played. And we went through this with Daniel Bryan. We went through this with Kofi Kingston. We went through it, like we've gone through it. And so if you did it for now here's the real mind blow of it all. If you're doing it with the idea that he is not to keep the strap, then you give it to him there and then you take it back immediately. But then you've burned all the things that, like, I don't know if Roman's streak matters. Like, I don't think the Gunter streak matters. I think it's stupid. But what if, for the conversation that you're trying to create, you don't want to burn the talent that is LA Knight by putting this loss on him, then you give him the strap, let everybody talk about WWE for a change, and then you get it back from him at the next pay-per-view. That's the mind blow. If you're really going to do business, that's what I would do, but I wouldn't have put him in this match. That's just me.
Another alternative is John Cena. That would appease the fans in Saudi Arabia. Or the most lame but realistic outcome is a DQ. So keeps the belt, keeps the momentum for LA Knight.
Yeah, that to me is a big burn. Like, why waste your talent, your assets? But hey, they know what they're doing. Make your money.
I'm happy Logan Paul's going to be there and fight Rey Mysterio and then get that belt and bring some credibility for that belt. I know you don't like him, but it's going to...
After that boxing match, it's kind of hard. That was tough to watch for anyone who watched that. That was a rough one.
A fighter that can't fight.
Yeah. If he's shaking his head, I think that's the cue. We're getting out of here. This is it for the Breeze. We'll catch you guys next Sunday. But up next, we got the Miko Project. And then Sunday, Ticket Weekends. There's no end. We go all the way till 11 p.m. So stick around. We'll talk to you later.